Well, thank you for staying with us this morning. Someone was dancing here while that song was going on. If you don't know the interpretation of the song, just tweet at Alaredu. She'll download the lyrics for you. Okay. We told you earlier that voting in Osun is ongoing now. Now, what's that got to do with census? The numbers. If you check, according to official information, data from the Independent National Electoral Commission suggests that Ekiti had a total of 988,923 registered voters when it happened there. How many do we have in Osun? Well, there is information suggesting that they have something in the region of 1.9, 1.95, almost 2 million registered voters. How many of them are going to vote? That's another conversation altogether. And I'm wondering how we're going to go about that. Well, the information is there. I mean, the voter turnout is already beginning to show up. So.
But it's now common knowledge that the population in a state is one thing. The registered voters is another thing. And then those who actually come out to vote is something entirely different.
Those are numbers.
I mean, 20% in Ekiti, you said?
Well, maybe something in the region of 25–30% or thereabout.
Still
at least
not good.
According to INEC.
Still not good.
But
of registered voters, yeah. 25% only.
And I know that that's the same way, just as the way you have cascaded the figures now, that's the same way census figures are cascaded. We'll find out more about that in our conversation with Barrister Bimbo Salu-Hundeyi, who is the Honorable Federal Commissioner representing Lagos State. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be on channels. Thank you.
Today you're a true Nigerian.
Thank you. You know, the census is around the corner, so we need to be able to be at the level of the masses, and that's why when I entered, I was also singing. All
right.
You know, this song just reminds me of the market. Well,
by the way, how do you count people in the market?
Of course we do. Because people, like in Lagos State, people live in the markets. They live in their stalls. So that's why during enumeration area demarcation, we actually ask, do you sleep here? And they tell us, so we record.
Wow.
So during census, we still go. And don't forget, I did say to us here also that we also go to under the bridges during the census because those are special population. It's even goes further than that. In Lagos State, in Alimosho, some parts of it, in the night, anytime from 10, right on the street, my brothers and sisters are sleeping there. And in all the abandoned vehicles. So these are special population. We must count them.
How many categories of special populations have you found?
Well, it depends on each state. Like in Lagos, most of our special populations are people on the street without homes. So we need to count them. We have people there. Special population is anything that is, anybody that is not within the confine of a proper residence.
Is that a large population?
They can be very large. In Lagos, they are quite large.
How significant?
They are. I think, I do not want to commit myself, but from what I did see during the enumeration area demarcation, they can be up to about 5%.
Whoa.
They're quite large. Yes.
That's quite significant.
It is.
Well,
because they sleep in broken down vehicles, they sleep on the streets, in kiosks, in the markets. Do you know that a lot of people in all our markets, Balogun and Alaba, in Arimosho markets, a lot of them actually sleep. The boys at work, the girls at work, sleep in the market. They wake up, take their bath, buy food around, and in the night when everywhere has closed, they go back in there and sleep.
Forgive me for going far. There is the Ekpe, the Ikorodu, the Badagry, the flanks of Lagos, if I can use that term. How significant is such an issue?
Well, you know, those areas are more of, you have them there too. At least I could remember Ikorodu. We saw quite a lot in Ikorodu as well. But probably in Ekpe and the rest, where you still have a bit of land, they too sleep there anyway. There's no part of Lagos people don't sleep on the streets. This is the truth.
On the street? What about when it rains? What happens to them?
They sleep there. And because it's a store, there's a roof on it. They go into the stalls and sleep, or they move to the front of the house. But I'm surprised you don't know. I mean, as a Lagosian, when we were growing up, a lot of people slept in front of the houses. Remember that?
I know it happens.
Exactly.
I just don't know it's that bad.
Most of our uncles, in the night, they gist, discuss politics, and then they just sleep and wake up in the morning. You know, most houses on the island, I recall very well because I went to primary school in Elegbata, most houses on the island didn't even have regular bathrooms and kitchens. So people just sleep there and they wake up, lift the plank up and take their bath within the room and then put it back. Then.
Well,
the plank.
Yeah, all things are passed away.
Okay.
But, you know, give us an idea of what this mock census, you know, what it's about.
Thank you very
The last time people heard about mock was mock exam.
Mock exam. Yes, that's all we know.
Mock as in mock, trial, is a trial census. Do you know that the National Council of State had approved that we take the census April 2023? And for any proper census to take place, we must have a trial census. Because, you know, census is a very, very important project to a nation. So any organization that is in charge of census must ensure that we're not saying that because it's only God that is infallible, that there probably not be mistakes, but we want to make sure that the mistakes are narrowed down to the barest minimum. And that's why we always have to have a trial census. The advantages are many. One, we on our part are able to test all our equipment at the same time. Everybody is doing that. It's not like the pre-test that we just test only equipment, and it doesn't have to be same time. Because you can say, oh, in my state, there's a public holiday, so please, can I do mine? But with this trial census, it's going to be like the real census. It starts on Tuesday, everybody must be enumerated in the areas we're going. That is number one. So we're able to test our questions to ensure that people understand what we're asking them. From what we see, and even from the house listing, people don't still understand a lot of the questions we're asking them. We're able to test, because we ask, you see, during census, we ask questions on environment, quality of building, the kind of bathrooms they use, health, education, everything that pertains to a human being. That's why we keep saying census is an oxygen that nobody can do without. So during this trial census, we will do everything we will be doing during the census, albeit on a smaller note. This time in Lagos State, we're just doing it in 9 local governments. And it's not even in all the local governments. It's just in certain demarcated areas, maybe 5 enumeration areas. You know, I did explain here that when we were doing the enumeration area demarcation, when we get a particular threshold of about 550 to 600, we circle it up and we round it up and it becomes a polygon. So, like in all these 9 local governments, we're just in like 5, 6 polygons. You know, it's a local government, especially in Lagos, Alimosho had almost 9,000 polygons. That's the largest in the nation. So in a local government in Lagos State, you can see a local government that has 700, 500, 2,000, 5,000. You know what I mean? So out of all this, we're just picking very little because we want to be able to concentrate on those people, and we could use them, hopefully, to fish out certain things that we can improve on. We have chosen, in Alimosho, we've chosen Ikeja, Aboru, in the west, sorry, in all the 3 senatorial districts, we've chosen Alimosho, Ikeja, and Ajeromi Felodu. In Lagos, we've chosen Ikorodu, Ibejuleki, and Koshofe. In Lagos Central, we've chosen Lagos Island, Surulere, and I'll remember later.
Okay, but you know, in all of these, first of all, let me ask you, during this mock census, and maybe eventually, is there going to be a public holiday?
No. This is what people have been asking us. We are unable to persuade government to give us a public holiday during this. We have not even thought of it. Usually, what we're just trying to see at this time, because these records, even though they are very vital, are not really part of census records. They're just to test the ground.
The question is asked because, I mean, if you say you're going to areas where people Of course, especially in Alimosho.
Yes.
They probably have left home 4 or 5 a.m. to go to their offices from Lagos Island.
That's true. So. That's true. So, and you might not really meet everybody at home.
You will not. Verily.
Yes, these are issues I have to... these are issues that I have always spoken about concerning Lagos State. And we intend to see what can be done in that area. I wish that it had been probably weekend where we can even get more people. It would fall a little into the weekend, but not totally. But since the commission had said the results are not going to form part of census results, they're just for us to be sure.
To test the process.
Yes, to test the process.
For you've given us, unfairly so, a representation of what is happening in Lagos, because that is Lagos, but you're a federal commissioner. I assume that you have conversations with your colleagues all over the country. What are some of the differences and similarities that you have found in the different regions of the country? Because many of them are also watching us now from different parts of the country. They want to have an idea of, okay, just to get the same information that you are giving us now about what's likely to happen to them as well in their communities.
Are they also having mocks?
It's all over the Federation, I did say that, and we're all starting same day and we'll end it same day.
Okay.
Because we want to see what the census will feel like. Yes, I also would like to state this, that we also have the mocks in the 5 regions. In all the regions, sorry.
6 regions.
6 regions, now 6 regions. And in each region, we have picked one local government. Full local government. For example, in the Southwest, we've picked Ogun State. Ogun State is going to run full local government. And, you know, the experiences there are slightly different from what we that were just in, like, a portion of our local government would have. But I must say, all in all, because we're talking of population, human beings, the same questions. The questions the challenges we all have is, one, we all feel that the time is not enough, because the questions are many. To
prepare or to
ask
embark
those
on the
questions,
exercise?
No, to ask people, because it takes you time to explain to them. Exactly. And you know, one other problem we've also found out is that people, regrettably, mostly don't believe the government anymore. Once they see you in their homes, they assume it's for a negative thing. That, after asking me, do I have a proper bathroom, do I have borehole water or tap water, you're coming to demolish. That's his impression. That's another one. So we need to keep convincing them that it's not for demolition, and they think you're probably coming to increase their tax. And we need to keep telling them we don't even have anything to do with all those. We are population, we are like you. We need you to help us to succeed. So you just have to cooperate with us. That is a lack of understanding of our mission is also part of it. And then we also have some very hard to reach areas due to the situation in the country. We have security issues as well, which every Nigerian is facing. We also have issues of, even some of, with due respect, those that we believe should understand, still don't understand. Some even feel that at this time, Nigeria should be talking about more food, better security, and that we should not spend money on census.
Okay. Perhaps, madam, it is valid. All those concerns are certainly valid. But perhaps the challenge then is insufficient communication or information. I told you
the last time
I continue to sing that song by a popular musician at the time. In these days, the word we'll use for Kollington Ayinla at the time will be trending. One of the foremost musicians at the time, making a song in one of his, I think it was in one of his most famous albums.
We got
putting that song, that beat.
Yes, census.
So, and it was even that, even that song was a popular, was a public domain song. He just put it in his own album. But we don't have such anymore. The radio and TV stations all over the nation, so that these things can open. Information is inadequate. So you don't blame people who are pushing back because they don't know what your objective is.
They're suspicious.
For they care, you are FBI.
Well, you see,
to make it even more, the CIA.
Oh my God. See, I totally agree with you. But I would also want to say this. You would recall that channels, especially, you've been our voice since 2015 that I have become the commissioner. From day one, you have always...
Wait a minute, 2015 is 2015, right?
Yes.
Just to be clear. Okay, go on.
You know, I discovered from day one, channels has been very, very supportive. Other stations too have been. But like you did say, we're talking about 200 million people, Nigerians. On just yesterday, channels, you also showed some of our door-to-door outreach on Census, which we did at Ikate, Surulere Ikate, Itire Ikate local government area. What we have decided to do, I mean, leveraging on your advice, is we now go from door to door and we tell them. Getting a big man like any big musician to sing for us is also in the offing. But you see, don't forget, you did say I'm a federal commissioner. It is the commission that will commission that. For Lagos State, when we have all support, we do have support, but we have the kind of support we're looking for in total, we could also do that. But again, the commission also will tell us when to start singing this song. You know, the census is in April. Now we're talking of trial census. From now, we don't want to stop singing. So I'm happy because I know my chairman is watching. Everybody's watching, like you did say. When we get back now, we must put back our census song from today. I totally agree with you. But also remember, sir, that most people don't even have television opportunity. The rural areas, we also concentrate on them. And that's why we talk to heads of communities, the royal fathers, the baales, the CDAs. We hold regular meetings with them, the CDCs, the faith-based organizations, all of them, market women. We do talk to them all the time. And we also have flyers. We explain these things to them. Like I've always said, you know, census is a process of processes. We had the enumeration area demarcation, we had the pre-test, we're having the trial census, we will have verification, so many things. So people also get confused. So now we're doing house numbering. They're like, okay, you're doing house numbering. What does that stand for? Then we tell them we're doing verification, we're having this. So we couldn't have started from 2015 to talk about it. We can boldly talk about census now because Mr. President and the Council of State have given us a go-ahead to hold it.
In April. Okay, what happened to the good old megaphone? Okay, I was going to tell Mr. Oladeyinde because he said we are now in a digital age. You can't do everything technology, television, radio. What about my great-grandmother in the village by the waterside? She doesn't have television, she doesn't have cell phone. But if you go to the marketplace with a good old megaphone, she's likely to hear it.
That's so true. And that's what we are doing in Lagos State. Channels even showed it yesterday. We've started. And I'm sure my colleagues too are doing the same thing. But, you know, when you just start something, it's not the same. I am very certain this is the bane of the success of the census, information. Okay. And we're not taking it too lightly.
You see that awareness, you are going to have to step it up.
We must. I agree with you.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if you are listening,
thank you.
You're going to have to step it up for one reason in particular. I talked about songs.
Yes.
People still remember the 2010 World Cup song, Waving Flag, by Kenan. Of course, you would know one or two songs that are trending right now. And people are still even showing it all over the place. So,
some even the song has to be catchy enough for all of us to sing it all the time.
We still remember We Are the World by a large number of American artists. Some African artists also got together after that and did Joy of Living. Joy of living, giving the best you got. So if we can have a coalition of artists like that, I think that might also help. But you talked about that trust quotient being reduced. We know it. And that is what you are experiencing. That trust quotient is greatly depleted.
It is.
But the only way to reverse it is by giving people the information that they need. Maybe by way of example, what kinds of questions are going to be asked?
The kind of questions we ask, one, apart from names and
Because
general...
I remember the last time, my apologies for butting you, I remember the last time you were asking them the number of pots they have in their homes.
That was for the enumeration.
Please, Number of
That's
pots.
not extracting. I only explained that household in demographic balance is closely in meaning tied to catering arrangement.
Yes.
If you eat alone, you are one household. If 3 of us eat together, we're one household. We can live in the same room, 10 people, especially in Lagos, and all 10 have different pots, so they're different households.
Number of pots.
Okay, wait. Look at this scenario.
Okay.
Oga and Madam live in the main house. There is a BQ with steward and his wife. Is that 2 households?
2 households.
They are, even if the wife cooks separately from the Oga, maybe she has health issues or for certain reasons. Once
So
you don't
in the
eat
main
from
house, there are two households.
There could be 10, depending on the condition. If they eat separately, they have matured children.
Like you said, pots.
So what kind of questions are going to be asked? Are people getting asked, and so that they can know? And then what kind of pushback have you had from such questions?
The questions we'll be asking, we're starting the enumeration proper on Tuesday. The questions we'll be asking, apart from age and the usual vitals, we'll be asking about education. I did say here, we'll be asking what kind of bathrooms you use. We'll be asking if they know what the house, the texture, environmental conditions, health conditions, education, infrastructure.
Environmental condition of what?
The people living there. How is their house? If you have a pit latrine, you let us know.
Okay.
Because you see, we need all this data to give to the government to know that, oh, Lagos, as it appears so developed, still has areas that they're using pit latrine.
Oh dear.
And that's why the census, as a mother of all data, is the foundation of any development of any country, because it takes care of everything. We want to ask borehole, how often do you have light? A lot of questions.
How often do you have light?
Everything. If you use electricity or you don't have, like our grandparents in the village.
But you should know the answer to that one. You shouldn't be asking.
No,
the answer in most places is never.
No. Well, maybe they need to talk to TCN. Because I really don't envy you, because you have to really talk. Well, but you know, you can't ask that question from Alera. She has UPS. She always has light.
So good. We'll notice
really?
that some people have UPS. People like her, people like you.
So why am I always talking about NEPA?
So we'll be able to tell government that NEPA is steady in areas like this. In these areas, they're not. So you see, it's a question on development and question that will help government plan for better life for the people.
Just to be clear, what is the purpose? You've said it quite a few times. What is the purpose of this census?
The purpose, the ultimate purpose of the census is to collect Ghana data for government to be able to use this data to have informed policy decisions towards the better life of the people.
The same government that the people don't trust.
That's the only way they can be trusted. Let me say this. When government, and let me start from the beginning. When the people cooperate with us, they answer our questions truthfully. They don't lie. If they are 10, they are 10. If they don't go to school, they tell us. If they've had abortions before, they tell us, and all that. If their baby survived.
You have a personal question.
That's why we don't reveal our answers to people. That's why census questions are highly, and that's why we also take oath of secrecy.
Okay.
Because you cannot disclose it.
Okay.
Because that's the only way. If we have all these questions and then later we analyze and give to the government, these questions, this data, the answers to these questions form what is called data. And tell the government that when they came, they knew we didn't have schools. Yes, we have 10 children here. No child has been able to go to school. So you must be able to do a school. So that is why census is the most important developmental strategy that the world has always used.
Just to one thing, one or two maybe. Are you having collaborations with states? I ask that because I think it was in 2006. Lagos State government did parallel census with the NPC at the time. Is there such a thing happening again in any part of
I do not think there will be parallel census because the present governor, Sanwo-Olu, has been relating with us effectively. He's been wonderful to the commission in Lagos State. And he appreciates and understands, his government understands and appreciates the census. Recall that it was his deputy that actually, first of all, challenged the decision then, he collated all the facts of Lagos State. So they really understand the importance of data and the census. And the way we're working now...
Is there a drill-down effect across the nation with all the state governors?
Well, every state commissioner relates effectively well with his or her governor, because we also try to let them see the importance. Like I have been saying in Lagos State, do not wait until after the census.
I'm sorry I'm asking that question, because
it's important.
Even though the census will happen after the elections, people still make census a political thing, which shouldn't be ideal.
I absolutely agree with you. And this is why Lagos in the past had suffered for it. Because in Nigeria, census is political. That is why people living in Lagos during census would move out of Lagos during census, go back to their states.
Yes.
Even the governor of Nasarawa State had had cause recently to complain of the same thing, because, you know, Nasarawa is close to Abuja. A lot of people live in Nasarawa State to come and work in Abuja. And during census, because they are workers of federal government, they work in Abuja or they work with the big banks, they just decide to go back home. So the governor too has seen that it depletes his population, and that's but Lagos is a major state that suffers it. You know why? It is only in Lagos in Nigeria. Lagos kind of feeds every other state. Every state comes into Lagos. The rate of internal migration into Lagos, there is no state that has it in this country. The pressure on the facilities of Lagos is so much that Lagos needs to have a way, either through law, criminalizing census migration, so that it can have accurate data. If not, there's nothing anybody can do about the traffic, about the environmental pollution you're talking about. The government must be able to take a stand and work with us at this time and make sure that people remain here so that government can plan better. You were discussing the environment when I came in, the flooding. Some of the flooding, from our own questions, is not just because people build this way or that way. It's also because they don't even know how many people live. So the area should not accommodate more than a certain number of people for the water to flow freely. But if we can give Mr. Governor all this data, he would use it to work with all other information and give to the residents of Lagos State better lives.
Well, we hope and we actually anticipate.
Amen to that.
Can we even wait for that to happen?
It will.
Well, for that, you've told us, Mr. Governor, we invite Mr. Governor one of these days to come sit with us here on Saturday.
We'll be glad. We'll be glad.
Good. You're giving a word on his behalf. Barrister Bimbo Salu-Hundeyi is Honorable Federal Commissioner representing Lagos State. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Channels, for always being our voice.
Okay.
To make Nigeria a better place. Thank
you. So, I'm
blushing.
Well, you still have your blushing cream?
Yes, I do.
All right, we'll be with you in a bit. More information coming, and it's hopefully from Osun State this time around. Please stay with us.